I'll start off saying this. I do feel after watching this specific show, I have a newfound respect for voice actors overall. Like, it is an art, it is a skill. I think all of us in our lives have watched a lot of very good animated TV through our childhood and even as adults. It's an important factor in these shows, and if it's not right, it can come off a bit cheap.
Even though they got some of the original cast to come back as these animation voices, somehow not all of them fit, you know? Which sounded weird because I'm looking at the animation and I'm like, oh, I know who this character is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, the voice matches. But then I'm watching it and I'm like, why does this feel janky?
Yeah, it did, didn't it? It was very, very weird where the animation was in one way and the audio coming out just kind of felt wrong. Hey, NarendraTheComic again!
India!
No, we got a non-sensei, but today we have the first episode review of Marvel's What If, and I can say with all confidence we are relatively on time with this one. We don't need Doctor Strange's time stone, we don't need the Eye of Agamotto to reverse time to be like, oh, we actually made the review on time, but we really didn't, because we're so late and tardy a lot of the time. But we might actually be on time in the future with episode 2, episode 3, episode 4. I don't know how many episodes there are.
I'm expecting at least like 8 episodes because it's animated. They're busting this big money on these other shows, and animation is not cheap, but you can stretch your dollar a bit more.
Yeah, I think animation, it's probably $2 to $3 million an episode as opposed to $20 million an episode for the live action shows. So I can see them doing a 10 episode arc, maybe even 12, but I wouldn't put it past them to be like 6 episodes, that's it. Finished. Done.
For some reason that sounds cheap. And I know that it shouldn't be cheap.
Yeah.
You know, they have the money, they have the fan base that's tuning in and watching.
And I'm sure there are going to be people with different opinions on this show, this episode, and this concept itself, because some people will not log into the animation. Some people will say, I don't want to watch these stories because they're not the MCU I know. And other people will say, well, it's just more MCU.
Yeah.
So I'll take everything I can get. The question is, because now the multiverse has been engaged, is this really MCU canon? Because there are some sites saying it's not. There are some saying it is. I'm leaning towards it is.
And also, they've dropped this at the time where Loki has come out. The multiverse is canon. It's definitely happening.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't going to be canon, they could have released it earlier. They could have delayed some of the other ones. They could have shuffled around their schedule. They didn't. These guys have the big brain, I don't know how many people working on the scheduling.
Probably too many.
Kevin Feige's overlooking everything. He's spending a lot of time. There's a reason it was dropped now. I think it's going to be canon.
Plus, I did see a rumor that Captain Carter might be in Doctor Strange too. So they might be pulling from absolutely anything for that Doctor Strange film and just jumping from universe to universe, because there's some rumors saying X-Men might be involved. There's some rumors that Fantastic Four from 2005. I don't know what could happen with that film because it's just so open. It's so available to every single avenue there. But with this first episode, I feel it was good, but it was a bit underwhelming.
Yeah, we actually watch anime. I think of it as a different art form. I think a lot more people have been tuning in the past year or so and understanding that this is a great medium.
Yeah.
So it's not the animation that threw me off. I think the story itself was a bit underwhelming. The way it was presented was underwhelming. The sort of course they took, I think they wanted to keep that Captain America, the First Avenger timeline so that everyone could see where the through lines were going.
But they restructured the story as well, which is fine. They restructured, rejigged a few things. But I feel that the choices that were made by Steve in the First Avenger were integral to the story that was being told. And his character overall, those things were stripped away because he wasn't Captain America anymore, but they weren't replaced with something else to make Captain Carter or Captain Britain, whatever she's going to be. They weren't replaced to make her seem bigger in the same way it did him. It made him have this sense of gravitas to him, even though it's not something he really wanted. When you look at his choices, he's the selfless, good, humble person. But those choices are all seen through the movie. Yeah. You didn't see any of the attributes that make her good in this episode.
I think you saw the fact that she was willing to step up, that she wasn't, like, the fact that she was the one, when Steve gets shot, basically, and everyone's falling to the wayside, now or never moment, and she's like, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, but she's already an agent at that point. My point is, that's a given character point, because she's already in the army, in the military, that's already there. Whereas for Steve, that's a grown point in his character.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I do feel like there was a bit of disconnect with this story to try and make her fit the Captain Carter with the shield, like, the shield was given to her, whereas for Steve, it was an integral point in his character where it was like, defensive offense.
Yeah,
sort of
non-violence
thing.
violence.
Yeah, non-violence violence, where he'd rather pick up the shield when there was the plethora of other weapons.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is the one. And even the backstreet dumpster,
Yeah.
the whole thing, everyone knows. But for her, she just kind of handed it by Howard, and she's like, okay, this is going to be my thing.
Yeah, and then Steve also becomes Iron Man,
Yeah.
essentially. Which is a weird one, because then at the end of the episode, the multiverse has a new hero. But it's kind of like, wait, they have two new heroes, because Steve is now Iron Man, basically. Because Howard made him an Iron Man suit.
Yeah. I wasn't sure about that.
They wanted her to be the main character.
Which
is what it was.
It's about Captain Carter, right?
Well, yes,
So-
but when you look at that first Captain America film, Peggy Carter was a standout more so in that first film than Steve Rogers. When you look at that film, the thing which people clawed to very much was Peggy Carter, not Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
It was when the first Avengers came around that everyone was like, oh shit, Captain America. It was when Winter Soldier came around where everyone was like, oh shit, Captain America. But in that first film, everyone was talking about Peggy Carter.
I think that's because of the scenes they put her in and her dialogue. Like, she was kind of witty and snarky, but without being too, like, mean about it. She was clearly at the forefront of wanting to win the war and help people. But with the way that they kind of framed her dialogue here, I guess it fitted, but it also didn't fit, because I understand that Peggy, in the way we saw her, was constantly being told that she wasn't good enough because she was a woman. She had to claw to where she was. Maybe that led to a part of her that had this sort of aggression/resentment, and we saw that through the Captain Carter she became.
Yeah.
Like, she was big physically, and she was bigging herself up.
She was a bit more aggressive than Steve's Captain America because he was so mellow as Steve.
Right, yeah, she was still clearly a very good guy. She was definitely one of the good guys. Good girl.
Girl.
I was actually
Girl.
really happy to see that she physically denshed up as well.
Yeah, I wanted that.
I was wondering, I was like, are they just going to make her really slight, but then also super powerful? Because Steve went from like a 5'3", malnourished small child of a dude to like, ooh, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they did that, because it added to the effect of what the serum can do.
Well, you kept the continuity. It made sense. It would have been a bit ridiculous if she'd just stayed the same size, and she kind of looked like a 6'3", 6'4" beast. And if she wasn't, I wouldn't have been having that. But I do feel the animation style overall didn't really hit me in the way I wanted it to. It could have been a lot better. It just looked a bit bland for some reason. It didn't always look like it fit.
There were parts of it that seemed they were off, like different styles of animation amalgamated together.
Red Skull.
Yes.
All right. I'm not having something here. It's that Red Skull just got bodied, jobbed, actually killed by this tentacle beast coming from the Tesseract. As soon as that happened, I said, wait, that means everyone in here is getting killed, because Red Skull's also a super soldier.
Yeah.
So how on earth is Captain Carter not getting done when Red Skull got done? It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. If anyone remembers the first Avenger, Steve and him were battling each other, and they were kind of even.
Yeah.
It was just by power of will, and then the Tesseract beamed him up to the desolate planet, right? That's the only reason Steve was able to do what Steve was able to do, is because of other forces.
Yeah.
But for this, the octopus just slammed him against the wall, and he was done, and
He
then
crushed
smushed him. But then Agent Carter's like, I'm going to be able to do this. And I'm like, but you're at equal power level. You're not going to be able to take on this monster. And I guess she didn't in the end. She just kind of pushed it
But
back.
she was gripped at one point. She should have got crushed.
She should have got crushed.
If he's getting crushed, I'm saying, she should have got crushed.
Yeah.
And then there's the thing of her coming out from the Tesseract in 2012, replacing what happened with Steve with him coming out of the ice. But that didn't really make much sense, because she came out the same age.
Yeah.
She should have come out a lot older, because she wasn't frozen in time. She wasn't frozen in space. She was just beamed to a different part of space.
Yeah.
That's all that happens with the Tesseract. You go to a different point in space. It's a space stone, so you get older.
Yeah.
How are you the same age?
Now with Endgame and Steve actually becoming like 100 years old and getting old, it shows that super soldiers can age. They just age a little bit slower and they age more gracefully, quote unquote, without getting broken bones and stuff. So it doesn't really make sense.
Doesn't make sense. I think overall it was a fun episode of television. I think it was a bit all over the place continuity-wise, but then again, it is the multiverse, so things change. I just think specifically with certain aspects, Red Skull being killed and her not being killed by the tentacle monster, I don't like that. Didn't really make much sense. As well as that, the time thing doesn't really add up, and I don't like things when they don't add up. 2 + 2 should not equal 6.
No.
No.
No, it shouldn't.
No. But
I will say, episode 2, hopefully it's going to be better. We might be seeing T'Challa Star-Lord if they're going to be going with the timeline. We don't know, but I am looking forward to it. It'll make us question. What if?
You killed it. No, I wouldn't say it together. I wouldn't say it together. But it was almost there. It was almost there. But hey, I was slow. You can say you were quick, but I was slow.
Oh no. I have a question here. Why was it in the moment when the octopus creature was kind of surging out and Howard was like, we're gonna need to fix that, I'm gonna do some sciencey stuff.
Oh, and then, she was like, just push some buttons.
Yeah, but she said like the exact thing that he was planning on doing.
Yeah.
But Agent Carter doesn't have that sciencey knowledge and he was trying to be quick.
Because we're in a pressure situation, just science and I'll do it, I'll fix it.
Yeah.
And she's like, we're gonna reverse engineer this or do this and the polarization of this. Wait!
Why are you making her do this? Because I understand that clearly she's a very smart woman, but I don't know whether she'd be able to go toe-to-toe with Howard Stark. And also, if they just flipped the dialogue, so he said that, and she was like, I get it, just some sciencey stuff. That would have been so much better, and it would have fallen in line with his character.
It was a very weird character point. I didn't even pick it up. You're the one who picked it up and went, that's weird.
I didn't like it.
She wasn't that intelligent. Like, she was smart, but she wasn't smart.
Genius, smart. I did like the reference to Hedy Lamarr.
Very nice.
She was a very smart woman. She was only known for her beauty, but she had great brains, and I liked that he was like, I had a weekend with her, very nice. That just didn't really fit the whole sciencey-wincy stuff there.
Sciencey-wincy stuff.
Sciencey-wincy
wow, we
stuff.
are at the end of this, aren't we? My God. We'll stop there. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please do like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel down there. If you didn't, Captain America, gonna come after you. Might be Steve Rogers. It might not be Steve Rogers. It might be Sam Wilson. But it definitely won't be Captain Carter because she ain't American. So she can't be Captain America. Plus, I had a bit of a weird thing with this. When you really think about it, she's a British soldier or agent who's working with the American military. Her taking the super soldier serum, that might be like some governmental hacking or breaking because it's technically not your property and you're not an American citizen. Weird stuff. Weird stuff going on there. That's a
good point. Weird
that's
stuff.
wacky stuff. That stuff doesn't happen in the world. Trust me. No. Military, no. Even in 1943, not happening. You don't want them coming after you. You really don't. So just subscribe anyway to avoid that. I've been NarendraTheComic.
I've been India.
She's been on Sensei. You've been Graham. We'll see you next time. That's tomorrow. If you don't know, make a video every single day. Been doing it every day for over 1,000 days now. We ain't stopping till we get to 10,000 subscribers. So do subscribe, pop back again tomorrow for some more quality shitty content, because we're hashtag never not here. Just how it goes. Also bring up a Bagwas means nonsense in Punjabi, and we also bring that. Bring a lot. Bring a little, do a lot, do a little, but we do indeed bring the quality shitty content on a daily basis. So see you tomorrow. More of the same, slightly different, but essentially the very same. Once more. See you then. Skadoosh.